welcome to a very special edition of the Geeks Who Like Sports Leaderboard interviews. As always, I'm Ray Carcel in beautiful Los Angeles, California, joined by my best friend over the entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Leo Elias. We have a very, very special guest today. He's a former NHL goaltender for the Canucks, Hurricanes, Devils, and Flames. He also won a world championship in 2017 with Sweden. Now he's an ambassador for GamerzArena, GamerzArena.com. Have to make sure we spell out the Z there. Eddie Lack is here today. Eddie, how are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. We are thrilled to have you because you again are one of our prime examples of a geek who likes sports, right? You're a gamer, obviously a former professional goaltender. So we've got a lot of stuff to talk to you about. But we'll start off with the games stuff. Obviously, I'm a big gamer as well. I do a lot of Twitch streams, and obviously I've worked in the games industry. So I want to know how you, just some surface level stuff, how you got into video games. What are some of your favorite games, and what might be you be playing right now?
Yeah, so I started playing when I was young. Like me and my dad, we always competed in everything, right? So video games pretty much just came natural for us. And when I started playing, it was like the NHL games. We played like Crash Bandicoot. I like remember and everything like that. So yeah, me and my dad, we always bet like $1 or $2 a game, right? and whenever he lost, he always used to do like double or nothing with me, right? So I remember like one time we were up for like $800 or $900 bucks, right?
Wow.
And like I like counted on winning, being paid out, right? And like then he finally won a game. I just started like crying on it. I'm like, I already decided what I was gonna do with the money and everything, like the games that I was gonna buy, and like new like glove and blocker for myself, right? So yeah, I was like super pissed that I lost.
And nobody knows where your competitive spirit in professional sports as a professional athlete came from, by the way. I'm sure that didn't transcend your gaming at all.
No idea.
Cool. So what are some of, you're on vacation right now, we should mention. Eddie's actually very near me, actually near in down in Southern California. What are you playing when you're not on vacation, when you're not going around? What maybe do you play on GamerzArena before we get into that?
Yeah, so I've always been a huge fan with the EA sports games, like the NHL, the FIFA. I like played so much FIFA growing up. I played Call of Duty, but I haven't played it that much lately. But that was like another game that I grew up with. I would say now it's like mostly Fortnite that I play. Like that's basically what my buddy's playing from back home and everything, and it's just like an easy way to keep in contact with them and like do something fun while you're talking, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's interesting that you bring up Fortnite, because actually a lot of Fortnite's been in the news a lot lately. I'm sure you've heard about the Epic versus Apple war that's going on. Do you have any thoughts on what's going on there? What do you think of Apple booting Epic and Fortnite from their game store, and obviously the Epic lawsuit back in retaliation to try and get some of that money back from Apple?
I just think that Epic grew too big for Apple's liking, right? I just think that Apple is like the big shark that always want to make sure that everyone knows they're the big shark, right? And then now that Epic kind of grew bigger and bigger and bigger, I think that they just feel a little bit threatened by them, right?
That makes sense. I mean, yeah, Epic wants a larger cut of the profits and trying to change the rules that Apple's clearly laid out, and it's going to be interesting to see how that all shakes out for sure.
100%.
Yeah, the thing too is about Epic is that like they have a right to do this at this point, in the sense of like I like that they're trying to go out on their own a little bit here, because nobody likes to go up against the big gun, but like they're in a position here they can do that, and it's like. Again, I'm an Apple fan too, but I still find this admirable that they're willing to kind of go for it and that they're unifying their community to do it. Because like when you look at the gaming community, and again, Apple's not really in that realm yet, right? The gaming community is really something special. And when they band together, it's powerful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And like it's very admirable, but I always feel like everyone that always goes after the big dogs, like it's always not. It's usually not the best move financially. But,
yeah.
There's usually a reason why they're the big dog, right?
Exactly.
So you also mentioned Call of Duty. I'm just curious. We're recording this for those folks know on the 20th of August, so we haven't had the full reveal yet. But are you excited? Have you heard about Black Ops Cold War? That was officially announced as the next Call of Duty game. Has that piqued your interest? Have you seen the teaser? You have any thoughts on that?
I haven't even seen the teaser yet, to be honest. Sorry, my wife is coming back.
Apparently the dogs have. They love it.
Yeah. I mostly just been like a super fan for the Modern Warfare game, right? And like that, that's like what I played. And like my dad still plays like the original Modern Warfare, right?
Oh wow, Call of Duty 4.
The original, right? So like I didn't like it when they came out with the one where you can kind of like fly in the air a little bit and everything. Like that just felt like too unrealistic for me, right? But I for sure have to check out the new trailer and see what it's all about.
It's chilling. That would be the way I would describe it. It dives right into the Cold War, and it's one of those trailers like, wait, is this real? Did they take this from something real? And you're like, if it's real, should I be worried? And then you remember it's a video game. You're like, wait a minute, I shouldn't be too free. They're preying on the where the world is right now in a good way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even I watched that, I was like, I don't want to watch this again.
Yeah.
I want to see this again.
Yeah, no, I give credit to the Black Ops guys. It's usually done by Treyarch. They, as much as I like Modern Warfare as well, the Black Ops guys typically, when they go into classic warfare, right, whether it's like the Vietnam era or
that's
whatever.
That's what I like, yeah.
Yeah, they really seem to know what they're doing. And don't worry, Eddie, no one liked Advanced Warfare or Infinite Warfare. We all agree that the flying stuff was dumb. So, but that said, you mentioned Modern Warfare. That's actually one of the games featured on GamerzArena, and we let's get into that a little bit. How did you become an ambassador for these guys before? And then, if you can, explain to the folks who may not be aware what GamerzArena is.
Yeah, so it's basically a platform where you can go and we have like daily competitions and everything that you enter for cash, and you can win cash, and you can win a bunch of other prizes and everything. And this is just across multiple platforms and multiple games and everything like that. And I got my interest peaked when a friend of mine just reached out to me and said that he was a part of like a gaming platform and everything like that, and kind of explained it to me and wonder kind of if I just wanted to have a piece of it, right? So yeah, and it's great, and with like the daily competitions and everything, and like the promo games that I'm doing too. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, I see that you're really active on there, especially with NHL, and I love the contests. For the listeners who don't know, like Eddie will play you in if I'm not mistaken, right, NHL 20, and like it just seems like a really fun atmosphere to kind of interact with you as a former player, but also someone who just loves games, and that's the thing that really stood out to me when I was kind of researching, is that you're really building, again, another community. You're using that gaming community to make a fun and safe place where, when you think about e-gaming as a professional sport, it can be out of reach in the minds of a lot of people. You're really bringing that into the home and allowing anybody to play, right?
Exactly. And like, I think that we learned from our mistakes now too. In the beginning, I was kind of just like playing against the winner of these tournaments and everything. And now we kind of realize that they're in a completely different class than I am.
Yeah. Yeah, I've learned that the hard way a few times too.
Yeah, we are doing a little bit more randomized stuff now, which is fun.
What you got to do with the NHL stuff is have them play in the game, and then there's a second half where they actually have to get on the ice with you, because I think that would end.
Oh, I would like that.
Well, yes, I'm planning to see now. Yeah, okay, because I would love to see. I've never skated before. That's not my problem.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Right? You don't have to deal with it.
That would be a fun crossover of real life and the virtual world for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. No, but it is really interesting what you guys are doing, because like typically, you know, I've been following esports for a long time, and I watch Evo, and I watch, you know, you have the Dota championships and the international and League of Legends championships. And obviously now you have Overwatch League, and it's, or Fortnite with Bugo winning $3 million or what it was last year, right? You have these tournaments with these kids where it's super, super high, the levels, and it's like, oh, like even for gamers who aren't at you know, as advanced as we'll say in age as I am, but younger folks like these, like, well, how do I get to that level without, you know, putting in necessarily all the time? But I'm good, but I'm not pro level good. GamerzArena kind of, I don't want to say lowers the bar of entry, but in a way it does. It kind of is like like you said, you have these like one-day tournaments or smaller tournaments with smaller prizes, and it's a chance for players and Twitch streamers in particular to show off their skills and maybe earn an extra little extra cash.
It makes it more accessible, right? Like, right. That's what you're trying to say.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah,
exactly. And like that's like when I think about esport now, like compared to when I was growing up, like everyone was like, stop playing video games, like you're never gonna like get a good job then and make good money or like whatever. And like now you see these like kids who make like 2 or 3 million from playing video games, right? Like it's crazy.
But, you know, and I was going to say too, Eddie, what's cool about this, now you talked about like how having a piece of this thing. And again, it's a very smart investment, obviously, with what you're saying right now about where e-gaming is going. Again, people are always shocked for some reason that over 40, they're always shocked. Like they're building arenas for this. Like they're building arenas for gaming. Yeah. And these are the same people that were saying, you'll never make a job in gaming. Now, listen, as gaming is your future, you know, you had an okay side gig as an NHL goalie, right? I mean, that's a good place to start. But, investment aside, okay, and this is what I'm trying to get to, okay, it's a great investment, but I don't get the feeling you jumped into it. You don't just jump into this because it's a good investment. You jumped into it because you believe something about what's going on here in gaming. So what I wanted you to do is tell our audience about, and again, you talked about some of your favorite games and how you got into it, but gaming must have affected you in some way beyond just the competition and the time with your father, which is priceless, obviously. What does that community mean to you? Why are you investing in them?
No, but that's what I like about the games that are coming out now too. Like gaming now is so different from when I grew up, and it's so much easier to connect with people from the other side of the world, right? Right. I'm sitting at my house in Arizona playing with my buddies back home in Sweden, and like we see the same screen in front of us and like talking in real time, right? Like that thing, that's just priceless to me. And like there's Skype and there's FaceTime, but like to have something that we all have in common and to have a passion like that in common, it's like so cool to me. And like that's why I love like the gaming community and like what they're trying to do, and just like striving forward and like coming up with new things and new ideas and everything. Like it's moving forward so fast.
You know, something you brought up there that made me think here, and it's going to take everything I have not to transition to the sports side of this episode here, but you're describing a team, right? You're talking about to be able to be together, to do something together. You're describing a team, right? And like, that's something I think people don't realize when you look at e-gaming or even online gaming, is like you're part of a team. And I think people are always striving nowadays, even introverts, especially introverts in gaming, to be part of something, right? And again, you were very fortunate in your life to have been part of some great teams with some great athletes, but you're seeing that and you're experiencing that in gaming as well. And it sounds like you're embracing that the same way. I do have to say, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, one of the things that you said that's quizzical to Ray and I. So Ray and I are just a little bit older than you. And we have parents that were probably too old to play games with us, right?
Yeah.
And I love that you played with your dad and that you bet, because I think Ray and I'm going to do that with my kids. Like, I game with my kids and so does my wife. But like, it's always quizzical for us to hear, like, wait, you got to play games with your dad?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a pretty cool thing. That's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, no, I played a little bit with my dad, but like when we wouldn't get a new system, he'd play with me for a day, and then like that would be the end of it, right? Like it'd be too beyond him in terms of the coordination when suddenly I'm doing like triple flips with Super Mario or whatever, and he's just he keeps falling into the same bottomless pit.
Ray, this dude's dad plays Modern Warfare.
Yeah, no, that's great.
No, but that's
awesome.
fun. So when my dad comes over here for Christmas and everything, like we still game together.
That's
and like
awesome.
he's 58 years old now, right? And he's like, hey, do you want to like play a few games with me? I'm like, yeah, sure, Dad, let's just game and hang out. And like, yeah, that's great.
Do you guys have a console preference? Xbox, PlayStation, PC?
So I grew up with the PS one, and then I transitioned into Xbox, and like now I have both. So I'm kind of like, depending on what game that I play, like the sports game I like better on the Xbox. Yeah. But if there's like a fantasy game or more like a storyline, I really like the PS4 better.
Nice, that's cool. Yeah, no, I'm similar. I have all the systems, so certain games you play on certain systems depending on what kind of game it is. Right? Like, yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. So
I love the way how I have all the systems. I have all the systems.
Well, I work in games. I have to have all the systems. Eddie now works in games. He has to have all the systems.
Now I need to have all the systems, is what you're saying.
I never get into the computer gaming and everything. I don't know why, but I just think that like once when I was younger and everything too, like I used to watch the computer Call of Duty and everything, and like, man, it just went too fast for me.
Yeah, their Twitch reflexes are unbelievable.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. No, for sure. We touched a little bit on the future of things, you know, as technology, right? Like Discord is another way that really has come out of gaming culture, right? It's another technology that has allowed people to connect. And obviously esports is growing more and more every year. We're even making games now remotely. You talked about playing with your friends, but now companies like Moon Studios that made the Ori games on Xbox, their entire studio worked from home. Even before the pandemic happened, they were all scattered all around the world. They were just teleconferencing together to make a game. I'm going to ask you to try and look into a crystal ball here. What is your predictions for some of the future of esports and gaming, especially now that we're on the precipice of another new console generation with the Xbox Series X, or as we like to say here in the show, the Xbox Sex, and the PS5 are right around the corner.
Yeah, like I'm honestly not sure where it's going, because it's people way smarter than me that's in charge of this, right? And all I can say that I'm just like extremely excited for where this is going, because there's stuff happening every single day that I'm just like, my mind is blown, and I'm like, I have no idea where this is going. But one thing that I would say that I'm interested in is like the virtual gaming and everything like that. I tried that once, like last time that I did it was like a year ago, I think. But like, that's so cool, and it's so realistic, and like you have zombies running to you, and you're sweating, and it's like, oh my god, like yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, no, virtual reality is I think part of the future for sure. It's definitely starting to become more accessible. I know I joke with Lee because obviously we live so far away, and I have a PlayStation VR headset. So I'm like, oh, you're playing with your kids? Well, I got to be Iron Man today, and tomorrow I get to be Darth Vader because of the new Vader Immortal game coming.
But Ray
out.
doesn't realize as a father I get to be those things too, just in real life. They don't know I'm not Iron Man.
That's right. Very cool. Yeah. So yeah, virtual reality definitely is something that we'll have to see. And maybe, do you think virtual reality could possibly encroach into the esports space at some point? I know a couple of early folks have tried it, but obviously the headsets aren't widely accessible yet, so it's not there. But do you ever see that? We talked about actually crossing the realm, right, where somebody playing you in real life hockey with you in net trying to score on you or something after an NHL game. But do you ever see possibly that more of immersion, that one-to-one where you have people playing sports or something mildly athletic in virtual reality? Do you see that maybe sometime down the line?
100%. I think in 10 years, most of this is going to be virtual reality, and like people are going to stand in their living room with it, and like thinking that they're strapping on the pads and having Ovechkin shoot at him, right? like I think that that's where we're going. Like for most people, including myself, like gaming is like a small time where you can kind of just escape reality, right? And like put yourself in someone else's shoes, right? And like I really think that that's the future of it, like to actually feel like you're there, like 100%, right?
What's funny is that you've actually had Ovechkin shoot on you before. That's not something a lot of people can say. Yeah. But no, I think you're right. And, you know, what I think we need to do is start bringing back athlete naming rights so we can have like Eddie Lack shootout challenge, right? You know,
yeah.
Yeah, you know, we just start bringing back all the, you know, what I like about VR in terms of hockey, you know, like I'm a huge hockey guy, all right? That's been most of my life as well. Is I love the idea that I might one day, you know, when I'm not athletically inclined anymore, be able to put on a headset and play against like Rocket Richard.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? Or someone from the past, or Gretzky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no ends of the creativity with that type of stuff. You know, I love that you picked Ovechkin. Speaking of Ovechkin, I got to transition here. I do got to get your thoughts
so
on
he shot on me a few times, and like now thinking back at it, I almost wish that it was a game, because then I could just restart it, right?
I think a lot of goalies would say that, though. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, most of them. You know, speaking of that, right? Speaking of hockey, we got to get your thoughts on what's going on. So we know that obviously 3 of the 4 major sports are active right now. 2 of them are doing well, but the NHL is really, for lack of a better word, kicking ass in terms of how well they've reacted to the pandemic with the bubble. Even though it's hard on a lot of the players, it's been a great success. But what are your overall thoughts right now on just kind of what the NHL has created here and the environment that they're playing under this pandemic?
I mean, I think that they made the best out of a bad situation, and I think that Puma.
If the dog wants to come on, the dog can.
Yeah.
It's not a,
Puma.
Yeah.
Hang on.
We're a very pet-friendly show here.
Yes.
I was gonna say you got to have a cameo.
Come here.
All right. Here we go. We gotta see this dog. No one interrupts our airtime. There you go. Except for this. And look at you.
The
All
puppy. Right. This will be our highest viewed episode. We incorporated a puppy.
Yeah. Don't need a cat to go viral. This dog.
So that's the small one, and he's trying to get the big one to play with him.
There you go.
Isn't that how it always
like
is? It's always the small dog trying to antagonize the big dog.
Yeah. No, I think that they've done a great job with the organization, just keeping everyone's safe, like trying to get some kind of like fan interactions and like with the sounds in the arena and everything, like just making the best out of it. And like so far we've seen like a ton of great games and great hockey and everything. So I'm just happy that we're like back on playing, right?
Right. And I do have to bring this up or my friends are going to kill me. So you had a great tweet the other day about a young man named Carter Hart, about how you said that you haven't seen a goalie this good since I think a young Carey Price. And then Strombone, who no one knows that it's Roberto Luongo, obviously, tweeted back. It went a little bit viral here, but I did want to ask you your thoughts on Carter Hart because here's the deal. I grew up in Philadelphia, as I said to you. I'm a Flyers fan. Really since Ron Hextall and Bertie Parent up before that, or Pelle Lindbergh. We haven't had much in the goaltending route to be extremely excited about. For a lot of Flyers fans, this is brand new, this feeling of we have a goalie in the net. So I wanted to get your thoughts on this show too, just about Carter Hart, what you're seeing as a goaltender yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think Philly's issue before is that they've had 7 good goalies on the roster, but now 1 great, right? And I think that really has changed with Carter now, and like from just like a goaltending perspective, like the way that he moves, how fluent his movements are, like the way that he finds his edges, like the edge work on that kid is just phenomenal, right? And from what I've seen so far, he's really got like the mental game too, which is like really scary because he's still so young. But yeah, I mean, that kid really got like the future ahead of him, I think.
You know, it's funny with him. He's only 22 years old, which is something the Flyers fans are all like, he's only 22. He's only 22. And it was funny because a bunch of Habs fans were ripping on us the other night for saying that. And I said, I'm very respectful with fan bases. I love the hockey community. And I said, you know, it wasn't that long ago the Habs fans were saying we have a young, hot goaltender who's only 22 years old and he's doing anything. So here's my next question for you. You've played on the international stage before. Is Carter Hart going to rip my heart out as an American in the Olympics one day?
No, because Sweden is most likely going to win anyway.
That's an excellent comeback. I can appreciate that. World champion over here.
Yeah.
Maybe in a semifinal or something.
There we go. It's all right. We're coming to prominence just like you guys.
Yeah. So speaking of other goalies, since Lee asked about his Flyer goalie, I'm a Ranger fan. You can see my background blink in the background. I grew up in northern New Jersey, about 20 minutes outside of New York City, Madison Square Garden. The Rangers have a very interesting goalie situation. They have 3, in my opinion, goalies who could obviously still start on probably any team. Georgiev's probably going to leave in free agency, but we still have obviously the King, Henrik Lundqvist, who looks to be like that they're trying to force him to pass the mantle on now to Igor Shesterkin, who we're already calling Tsar Igor. What are your thoughts on that situation? How the Rangers are handling it, and just what are your thoughts in general on that situation with the Rangers, if you have any?
I just think that it's funny that everything can just change so quick, right? Yeah. I still think, just like you're saying, that Hank is a really good number 1 in the league, right? And that's what I think that they screwed up. Like, I don't think that they treated him with the respect that he deserved. Like, I agree. Like especially this season. Like, this season has been just like a slap in the face on him, I feel like. And if that was your plan, they should have just traded him at the trading deadline and gave him a chance to win something somewhere, right? I think that Igor is like a really good number 1 too, and he's going to be great. But for everything that Hank has done for that team and everything, like, yeah, it kind of left a little bit bad taste in my mouth, I think.
Yeah, it's weird when we're talking about going from a king to a czar. It's New York's flair for the dramatics on that one. But, it's funny. I remember, Eddie, Lundqvist's first game. I can tell you where I was. I was actually in my dorm room in college. I remember because Kevin Weeks was in net for the Rangers and he got hurt.
Yeah.
And a young kid came in, Lundqvist, which because nobody could say his name back then yet. And he came in net. And I remember from the first game just being like, whoa. Like, what is this? And all of a sudden, the Rangers became a contender after years of not being a contender.
Yeah.
And you said it right. We talk all the time about Lundqvist, especially in the final, where everybody talks about how the Kings won, rightly so. Don't get me wrong. Congratulations to the Kings on that one. But that series was so much closer than people realize, and a lot of the big reason was because of Lundqvist. And I think you're right. I respect an organization's ability and reasoning to want to win. But when you have a franchise goalie like Lundqvist, who's not exactly, nosediving in terms of talent here, right? He is a little older. He's not 26-year-old Henrik Lundqvist, that's for sure.
No.
But he's still there, and I agree with what you said. There's a certain way to treat a player like that, and where we're at right now, it's going to be very interesting to see what they do over the offseason and now of whether he kind of waives a no trade clause or whether he wants to go to another team. And then you have to start looking at what team is a cup contender that needs a goaltender. And it's always a tough situation, right? Because most cup contenders don't need a goaltender.
Exactly.
Right?
And I was hoping by the trading deadline that he was going to get traded to Colorado. That's what I was hoping. But yeah. I mean, it didn't happen, obviously.
Yeah, and
Henrik
actually loves New York too. I mean, he has embraced that city. And sorry, Ray, I just want to say this last thing about Lundqvist because we talked about this months ago.
Yeah,
about how there were some Ranger fans, probably on the younger side, that were speaking ill against him. And Ray and I just you don't get to do that.
Yeah.
You don't get to talk bad on this man. Like he has been an ambassador not just for the Rangers, but for hockey, for his country. I mean, just a great human being. So yeah, I'm with you on this with Henrik. He deserves quite a bit.
Plus, a lot of younger fans don't realize what he's done outside of the NHL either.
Right.
Like everyone is just gonna say, well, he's not a winner. He didn't win that Stanley Cup, right? But he's won everything there is to win outside the Stanley Cup, right? He's won the Olympics. He won a few World Championships. He's won a few Swedish elite leagues.
Right.
That guy is a winner.
Absolutely.
And that's why I think that he earned the chance to go and just try to win something for another team before he retires.
Do you think he's going to retire, or do you think he's going to try and play next season?
That guy loves hockey so much. There's no way he's gonna retire. I hope that he goes somewhere that he has a chance to win, because Rangers is probably still 2-3 years out before they can really be a contender again. I mean, obviously the draft and everything is gonna help
a little bit.
But yeah, they're probably still another 2 or 3 years away, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on all those counts. And we also actually said that we said the exact same thing here on the show. I said the same thing where as much as I love Lundqvist, would love to have seen him go to somebody like Colorado, like you said, for a chance to try and finally win that cup, because the Rangers, the rebuild has obviously been accelerated with the number 1 pick. But like you said, it's going to be a couple of years before that window reopens for a cup. And it also reminded me very much. It's also reminds me of the Eddie Jacquemin situation with the Rangers back in the 70s, where they let him go to the Red Wings. Same thing, and obviously they called up John Davidson then, obviously, and then unlike Lee, the Rangers have been kind of gifted with many great goaltenders over the years, although only one
You
one
only
cup.
need one, buddy. You
Yeah,
only
I
need
know.
one, and we got one.
Yeah.
We got one.
You got
The
one, yeah.
Ghostbusters thing.
But because then after JD it was Beezer, and then Richter, and then so we have fun. Obviously, it's a good friendship here. We need to rag on each other, even though I hate the Flyers. But yeah, no, we completely agree with you.
You should probably whisper that since you're in Philly right now.
Oh, no, I'm in Philly, right?
He's
in
Philly.
I'm
in
LA.
LA. I'm in LA. I'm okay.
I shout it, Eddie.
Yeah.
I shout it to the world. No, listen. I always say this. I'm a fan of the league first, and then I'm a Flyers fan.
Yeah.
But like I said, like I've been involved with the game at many different levels for most of my life. So, what's funny about what you said is I grew up hating the Devils. But the Devils organization's actually given me more opportunities than any other organization. As you get older, your fandom kind of starts to shed a little bit, and you start to go, well, I know this guy and I know that guy. It becomes less and less. But I would love to see the orange and black win. Now, Ray is a Rangers fan in Los Angeles, so he's had to deal with that for the last decade.
Yeah, I had to. Well, the video game. There's a strong video game industry out here, and unfortunately, I had to leave the East Coast. So
he'll come back to the East one day. We'll talk about it then.
Maybe one day we'll figure it out.
Or I'll visit you in Laguna Beach, Ray. We can do that too. Play games
We'll come out hang here on the West Coast, or visit Eddie in Arizona when he goes back there.
That's a good spot.
Yeah,
Eddie, I got to ask you this last question too before I let Ray go. Ray and I were actually on the phone prior to this call. Talking about kind of the future of sports. And one of the questions I had for you is that, we're seeing some tectonic plates shift right now in terms of broadcast, in terms of where games are shown. And, Twitch is really something that's up and coming. You know what I mean? I actually, up and coming is not the right description, right, Ray? It's more like it's here.
It's here. It's one of the most dominant live streaming services.
Do you see a future, Eddie, in which the NHL is on Twitch or the NHL is being streamed through a headset? I mean, it's not always going to be through broadcast television. And is that something you want to help as part of your ambassadorship, help that game kind of come over to the gaming industry? Because if there's one thing the NHL has lacked, but it's starting to pick up on, I will say this, especially with the way they're doing the bubble right now, is they're starting to, I think, realize that interaction with the fan base is much more important than it's ever been, right? I've seen them do more outreach now through social media, and again, they're being hilarious with what they're doing in the arenas right now, with the messaging, right? So, do you see there's a future? And last thing too is statistics show that the NHL fans are the most technologically advanced fan base in sports, meaning they just use technology more than the other sports for whatever reason. So do you see a future for that where the NHL is on Twitch or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, I think, especially now as a big company like the NHL is, you can't risk to miss out on something like that. And you have to be one of the first ones in as a sports team or sport organization, everything. I think that the way we're gonna watch the games is gonna be way different. For the last 3 months, I've also been in talk with another company too. That's to explain it the easiest way that I can is that when games are going on, whether it be NHL or like whatever, you get 4 picks as a fan. So what team is gonna win the first face off? Like, is the first team gonna go and score first? Who's gonna go offside first? Like
pure gamification, right?
Yeah. So this company has like 4 questions each period like this, and you pay like $10 to enter, and the winner gets his pot, and then the rest goes to charity, which is like super cool. But I do think that this is like a way to engage fans that don't necessarily cheer for one team or the other one or love the sport, but this is a way to just bring in like new fans and everything, right? And there's still so much that we can do to enhance that fan experience, I think, right? And like that comes to esports too, because this kind of stuff, the betting side of it too would work well with esports as well, right? And that's going to be the next step when it comes to esport, I think.
Yeah, I love that there's a charitable side to it as well, because like I think that's a big thing that especially the NHL and athletes in the NHL have championed. But you said e-gaming can have a huge, because again, people just do not realize how big of a machine gaming is. They do not understand for whatever reason. It would be like standing next to the tallest building in the world and not realizing it's there.
Yeah.
That's what I try to explain to you. So, Eddie, I'm going to tell you this just before I throw it to Ray, is that I can't wait to shoot on you in NHL 2032. Right? I'm going to be ready. I'm going to train it here. I'll be way too old to be skating at that point probably. But actually, you know what? That's not as far off as I think.
I'm already too old.
Yeah, there you go. All right. But that's advantage to me. Go ahead, Ray.
So we've been talking about pro sports. We're talking about the bubbles and whatnot. But you're also an assistant head coach over at Arizona State. And a lot's been going on, obviously, with college sports. A lot of conferences are just pulling the plug on the fall. What are your thoughts on what's happening right now with college sports, and will it be safe for college sports to come back in the fall, do you think, or what are your thoughts on everything that's going on right now on the college scene?
I think that we will be back. I do think that everyone is just trying to make sure that it's safe to come back, right? And I'm as a coach, I'm just kind of like waiting and seeing what's gonna happen, right? Like, so I hear some talk about January. Like, I feel like when it comes to college sport, we're all just very dependent on the football season, right? And once college football decide exactly what they're going to do and when they're going to play, the rest of us are just going to have to adjust to that, I think.
Cool. Well said, Eddie. Well said. Well, we want to let you get back to your vacation. We really appreciate you taking a little time out of your day to talk to us here. It means a lot. And you're welcome back whenever you want. We love to talk more games and hockey with you. But thank you again for coming on, dude. We really, really appreciate it.
Thanks, boys. And let's game a little bit soon, too.
Have to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. NHL 21 will be coming out in a couple of months. I think it's time to sharpen up those virtual skates. And
work harder, Rammer. Work harder.
Yeah. Yeah, I know those poor guys. They're I think they made the right move not coming to the next generation of consoles this year and waiting a year.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, no, but there are a lot of good folks. Indeed, William Ho, Rammer, all those guys up there at EA Vancouver. You heard it from Eddie. Work harder, guys. Come on. Yeah. But when NHL 21 does come out, we would love to play you, Eddie. Trust me, because the only hockey I'm good at is the virtual kind. So
you guys might have to start already to talk what team you're gonna play as. If you're going to be the Rangers or the Flyers.
I'm the Flyers. I'm going to put Carter Hart in that. I'm hopefully going to get a 99 rating or something like that.
I don't know about that.
I'm going to jump over that. I mean, well, is Gronkowski in NHL 21, Ray? Because he might have a high rating.
No. Thankfully, the Madden rating guys are not the same guys who do the NHL ratings. So that's a whole nother story. But Eddie, you might have to take on both of us at some point. Then, me as the Rangers, him as the Flyers.
I'm going to be Team Sweden. Screw it.
Oh, perfect.
There you go. See, that's how you get.
Then Eddie will just pull his goalie and let you score, so Sweden wins. Then, like, come on. That's not fair. Calling in the nationality. All right.
I fight dirty. No.
All right, Eddie. Thank you so much. Yes, again, it's GamerzArena.com, GAMERZ arena.com. And, of course, you can also follow Eddie at Eddie Lack on Twitter. Eddie, again, thank you so much, dude. We really do appreciate your time.
Thanks, boys. Have a good night.
You too. Man. This has been the Geeks Who Like Sports Leaderboard interview. Good night, everybody.